Because that would be crazy.
You know, most horror franchises tend to wear themselves out. They usually run in circles, same setups, same tropes, same final destination, if we're being honest, and after a while, everything starts to feel like a rerun. The suspense dulls, the deaths get cartoonish, and the storyline, well, it becomes a bit of a punchline. And that's why going to Final Destination Bloodlines, I didn't expect much. I figured I'd just kick back, watch a few creative death scenes, and call it a night. But I gotta say, at the end, I was shook. Bloodlines doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. Instead, it sharpens it. It respects the rules of the franchise that's already laid down, especially from the early entries, and actually pays homage in really clever, subtle ways. From the Rube Goldberg-style chain reactions to the lingering sense of dread that hangs in the air like fog. You know, death is coming. You just don't know how, and that's always been the beauty of this series. This time around, we follow a college student who's haunted literally and figuratively by night terrors and premonitions. She's struggling at school on academic probation and decides to go back home to figure out what's really going on. And that's where the bloodline part comes in, because her family, particularly her grandmother, is tied to something much bigger than just one tragic accident. It's legacy-level fatalism, and it gives the story a layer of generational trauma that the franchise hasn't really leaned into before. Now, I won't spoil the twist because the way the events unfold is part of the fun, but what works here is the how. This film actually takes its time. It builds tension slowly, deliberately, unlike some of the earlier Final Destination films where we jump from death to death like a horror highlight reel. But Bloodlines lets moments breathe. It leans into the unease. You see all the pieces being set in motion, like watching someone set up dominoes with shaky hands. You know something's gonna fall. You just don't know when or which way that line is going to turn. And that Hitchcockian approach is brilliant. There's rules in thrillers, right? If you show a gun in Act 1, you better use it in Act 2. Bloodlines plays with that kind of visual tension. You see the objects, the setups, the possibilities, but it withholds just long enough to keep your nerves rattled. You're always scanning the frame thinking, is that the thing? Is this where it happens? It's such a smart way to involve the audience without spoon-feeding. And it works. The tension here isn't just for show. It's effective, and you feel it in your chest. Now, let's just talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the CGI gore. Yeah, there's a lot of it, and while it mostly works in context, I'll be honest, it took me out of the moment more than once. I come from visual effects world, but I miss the tactile, messy realism that you get with blood, squibs, and prosthetics. And here, it's all a little too clean, a little too digital. Like it was an episode of The Boys, maybe I'd be a little bit more forgiving, but in Final Destination movie, I wanted something a little bit more raw. That said, the visual effects don't sink the movie. The directors who, fun fact, they met on a reality show called On the Lot, have been working together for years, and you could tell there's a cohesion in the tone and a clear vision on how the story unfolds. They're not just throwing jump scares at the wall. They're crafting narrative that holds tension and delivers surprises and still finds time to wink at the audience without losing credibility. It's rare these days for a long-running franchise like this to come back and actually feel fresh. Not rebooted, not reimagined, just refocused. Bloodlines understands its roots, it knows the formula, and it respects the fans enough to involve just enough to keep things interesting. It doesn't try to outsmart itself or overcomplicate the lore, it just honors what came before it and tightens the screws. And for anyone studying horror or filmmaking in general, this is a great case study in how to build tension. Young filmmakers especially can learn a lot from how this movie sets up suspense, withholds payoffs, and keeps viewers second-guessing their instincts. It's one of those films that plays best in a theater too. The gasps, the groans, the laughter, it all hits better with the crowd. So if you're into horror, if you're a Final Destination fan, or you're just looking for a movie that knows how to make you squirm in your seat in the best possible way, Bloodlines is one to catch. And I want to give a big thanks to Knife in the Dark podcast, by the way. They gave me a shout out recently, and I'm still feeling love. Hoping they cover Bloodlines soon, because I can't wait to hear their take on it. I'll leave their link in the description, so check them out. They're amazing. And thanks for diving into this with me. Let me know what your thoughts on Final Destination Bloodlines. What was your favorite setup? Did the CGI bother you? drop your fears and thoughts in the comments. And I appreciate you going on this film journey with me, and as always, be real.
So, which one of you is next?